guys, hello family, hello YouTube. So today is on Tuesday 11th of August, very early in the morning, and as usual we want to start to see how the day will unfold. Alright, so as it is the routine, we start from the DXY. Alright, and DXY will give us the general view on how the day goes. Alright, the DXY is the dollar index and it's the king of all currencies. And when we analyze the DXY, that will give us the overview on how the currencies like the EU, GU, gold, such like will move for the rest of the day. Alright, so without wasting time, we want to start from the weekly time frame. Today's on Tuesday, so it's wise for us to start from the higher time frame and see how price has been moving. Alright, and we have been seeing how DXY has been trying to push up. Alright, and we said we wanna see DXY come and take this by side liquidity for status, right? That's the first target, and we have other targets up there. This large imbalance and a little one here. This all by side liquidity. We want to see how price will trade up to them. This is the draw of liquidity that's drawing price up to them, and then after it has done that, then we can see how it will continue to the downside. Alright, I'm saying this because on the monthly time frame we have there as the target that price is targeting, but price does not move in a straight line. Alright, it does some retracements and some balances. It moves from balance to imbalance, balance to imbalance. It doesn't move in a straight line. So what is price trying to do at the moment? Alright, we saw how price broke above this point, this last high, and we call that a breakout structure. Alright, that was a breakout structure, and we have seen how it has been retracing. And I want us to notice how the last week candle closed. Alright, this one was very massive. This black one was very massive, and the next that followed this massive candle was an indecision candle. Alright, indicating that we don't have much selling pressure. Now the buyers are trying to come in. Alright, but from the weekly, I want us to note something. We have some demand zone that was untested at this point, but I will go to the daily and tell you why we should not be concerned with this at the moment. Right? Yes, it may be a target, but at the moment we have something to deal with. Alright, so on the daily time frame, we want to see it how it aligns with that target from the weekly time frame. Right, and we can see this was a weekly demand zone that we have marked just now. Weekly demand zone. Alright, but we don't want to see price come to this point unless something happens. I'll tell you what will happen for us to know that price is going to come at this point. Right now price is trying to push the broke structure at this point. Tunnel structure broken, and we have another one like there, breakout structure, and you can see how price has done well to come back to this order block or demand zone that resulted to that breakout structure. Alright, we have this as our internal breakout structure. This was our last internal breakout structure that resulted to this swing breakout structure that brought this massive movement to the upside. Alright, so this is where the smart money guys entered their previous order. Alright, that was some orders were activated at this point. Now they have returned to it to take other remaining order to deliver it up to that point. Alright, so this was an imbalance move. Price retraced and it has come to balance, and you wanna see it after that continuation up to this point. So from the daily time frame, this is what we have wanna deal with. this is our buy side liquidity, alright, which is our multiple pre-call structure that's going to facilitate that movement up to this target and this target that we saw from the weekly time frame. Alright, we have various types of liquidity. We have external liquidity. These are the external structures, like the one we have marked, like this we have marked on the weekly time frame. That was external. And we have internal liquidity, which are the internal structures. Alright, price text goes for external liquidity, comes in for internal liquidity. Your internal liquidity is your area of interest, like your order block, fair value gap, mitigation block, breaker block, supply, demand. All those are your internal range liquidity. But external range liquidities are the ones that are found within our daily range. Alright, outside our daily range, that's our buy side and sell side liquidity. Like for instance, at the moment, we have this as our dealing range, right? Let me schedule this our sell side liquidity, right? This is our sell side liquidity, and this is our buy side liquidity. Now we take a Fibonacci tool, we measure it from this point to that extreme swing high, from the swing low to the swing high, alright? And we want to see how price has retraced. We call it above 50% is premium, below 50% is discount, and 50% at this line is equilibrium. Alright, so this between this our buy side and our sell side, anything between this daring range is our daring range. Alright, and when we are buying, we want to see price come to discount, and then we can make a decision of buying. And when we are selling, we want to see price come to premium, and then we want to make a decision of selling. Now, where do we make a decision of selling, or where do we make a decision of buying? We make a decision of buying when we are in an uptrend. When we are in an uptrend, we want to see price move as it did here, create this imbalance, alright, retrace or balance it. This is a pullback, have a pullback up to discount level as it did right there. Then we can buy to continue that upward movement. Firstly, when we are in a downtrend, we want to see price create this. This for an example, I'm not saying we are in a downtrend. I want us to see price creating a downward imbalance, and we want to see price doing some pullback or retracement to balance that imbalance was created up to the premium level, and then from that we can decide to sell, right? But for our case right there, we want to see us buying, and we have seen our prices traded down to our discount level. Alright, so everything is telling us that we are in a buying zone or a continuation zone. Alright, now this is what I want us to pay attention. If this price does not buy from this point and it does something like this, and it breaks below our area of interest with momentum, with strong candles, alright, then we can say we want to see price come to this our weekly demand zone. Alright, you get my point? If price will break below this our demand zone with momentum, with strong candles, and close below it, then we can know that we are now targeting this weekly demand zone. Unless that happens, up to the point that will happen, we are in a buying zone. Right, so this our area, and our area of interest has not been violated yet. Alright, when price will close below this point, then we can say that's our invalidation point. Alright, so at this point I want us to buy, and we can see our price did well. It did some liquidity sweep right there. Alright, we can see it. Now we go to our 4-hour time frame and see what we have. Right, so from our 4-hour time frame, what we are looking just for buying opportunities. Right, it is unwise to sell when price is at your discount level, so you rather wait, and price will give you an opportunity to see what will happen. Alright, so from the 4-hour time frame, this is what we also have. Alright, this is what we also have. Price also traded up to this for our demand zone. So we have some confidence right there. This was the demand zone that price traded up to right there. And we have this was the break of structure that brought that massive upward movement. This massive upward movement was brought from this zone, alright, and broke that break of structure to also this is our demand zone. Alright, so we wanna see price tap it. It did, and it did well to clear liquidity, and now we are waiting for a signature or a sign from price before we continue our buys. But I want us to see something right there. Alright, we also have this demand zone that was untested. Alright, this is the kind of traps that this market does. Alright, so we have this also our demand zone that was untested previously. So this is something that we should be skeptical about. Alright, so price may decide to do something. Let me show you. This is an internal break of structure to the downside, right? Yes. So price may decide to sell from this point, that point, do something like this, right? May decide to do something like that, and then tap this point before we continue to that upward movement. Alright? You get my point? The reason why I'm saying that this demand zone was untested. So price may decide to use this as inducement. You see our first demand zone, price may decide to use this it as an inducement. Alright? And that's something we should be very careful about. But we also price may decide to just continue from this point. So at the moment we don't know what price is trying to do, but our work is just to position ourselves in a place that we are able to take our trade. So what I want to see is that if price will close above this point, that will signify the buying momentum, the buying opportunity. I want to see how price will close above this point, right? With a strong candle. If that happens, then I will know we are coming to this buy side liquidity, TS1, and ultimately up to that point. Right, I want to see how price will close above there. Alright, so that's what I have on DXY. At the moment, you can see how price is approaching in that zone with a corrective pullback, and this was a massive pullback, telling us that we also have some sellers in the market. Right, this was a very massive NFP. I guess this was NFP, yeah. So I want to see how price will react from this zone. If we have some bearish confirmation from that zone, then we can know that price is targeting this ultimate demand zone and use our first demand zone as inducement. The reason why we are having that skeptical sense of us is because all of these demand zones are located in our buy zone area. They are located in a deep discount level, our OT level. Alright, so they are giving us some skepticalness, but it's wise for us to position ourselves and see what price will do, and then we can react from what price has done. Yesterday I was trying to catch up this retracement, right? Crazy man. I was trying to catch up this start retracement from this point. Let me show you. But price decided to just move away from this other block right there. That's why I wanted to cut that retracement from this point. My stop loss was just a little bit like that, and I was targeting just exactly 1 2 3 1 2 3 exactly 1 2 3 motherfucker, somewhere there. Alright, but price came close to it and then it went away. You can see it. Alright, it didn't tap this fair value gap and that other block, it just moved away. Alright, crazy man. So today is Tuesday, so I wanna see how price will react from this zone. As I have said, you may have some selling pressure coming in from this zone right there. to take out. The aim of these sellers is not long term, right? It's a just small target of taking this by sell side liquidity and tap this ultimate demand zone and use our first demand zone as inducement. Alright, so that's the aim of these sellers that are placed right there. But we'll see what happens. Maybe the buyers will come in strong and overwhelm them and close above that, and we can start our upward movement. So the same thing happens to EURUSD, right? Just the same thing, but in the opposite direction. Yes, but in an opposite direction, right? I don't want this video to be so long. So this is what we also have on EURUSD. Alright, this was the ultimate breakout structure. That's the swing breakout structure. Breakout structure. And then we have our internal breakout structure also. Internal breakout structure. And press did well to tap to our demand zone that decided to that breakout structure. You can see our price has done that. But I want us to see something there. DXY, we saw our price tapped our demand zone and cleared liquidity, right? But then when we come to this EU, we have seen how it tapped it and it didn't clear liquidity. Alright. Very tricky price action, man. So what do we wanna see us doing? Alright, so we come to 4-hour time frame. We adjust our areas. And we can see our price tapped that point. That's our supply zone. Alright, I say demand zone, but that's our supply zone, right? Let me name it for supply zone, not the demand zone. Supply zone. Let's tapped it, but it does not clear the liquidity, and you can see this momentum, and we have our retracement coming in fairly weak. The same thing applies. We want this was a breakout structure now, telling us that we also have some sellers, not sellers but buyers, pushing up to that point. So this is our point of invalidation. You see this point, not this one. Somehow this inversion fair value gap, that's our invalidation point. If price will close below here, then we can know that we are targeting sell side liquidity. But as it stands now, we are still bullish, right? The bearish movement has not started yet. We are bullish and we have not cleared the liquidity, so I want to see how price will clear this liquidity before we start that downward movement. Alright, so we may have some buys from this zone. Let me show you. Have some buys, clear liquidity, give us our confirmation on 1 hour or 15 minutes, then we can sell. That's what I'm expecting to see on EURUSD and on GBPUSD. Also the same thing. GBPUSD, we have this as our supply zone. Price has tapped it, has not cleared liquidity, so I wanna see it. Wanna see how to clear liquidity. Wanna see how to clear liquidity there and tap to this. Maybe tap to this supply zone. Was it tapped a little bit? Tap to that supply zone and see how price will react from there. And on XAUUSD, also the same thing. This XAUUSD is crazy, man. This pair is crazy. Alright. Just yesterday I took a trade right there and it went without taking me in, man. Now I see it's just gone beyond my TP. This pair is crazy, I'm telling you. So from the daily time frame, this is what I saw. We had two supply zones. Right, we had this as our swing breakout structure to the downside. Alright. break of structure, supply zone that I was anticipating to see price tap to yesterday, and I will have another supply zone. We have two supply zones at the moment. Right, supply zone, and this is our second supply zone. So I want to see some selling from this point, and this is the reason. From the 4-hour time frame, I saw our price closed below this point, right? This was a break of structure, and break of structure. I marked this as my inducement, right? I marked this as my inducement, and I wanted to see how price will tap to this supply zone, this one right there, and then I can have some sales, right? This was my inducement. Inducement, where are you, inducement? Mr. Inducement, there he is. Inducement is what brings liquidity in the market, right? So don't confuse inducement and liquidity. Inducement is a false structure that the market creates that will entice people into entering trades, and maturely that action of them entering a trade, that's them generating liquidity. So inducement is what brings liquidity in the market. So I was watching it, and that time price was somewhere there. Let me show you. Price was somewhere here. This fair value gap, this non-breakaway gap, right? And I wanted to see how it will take this and tap this supply zone. So I was buying from this point, and my buying came from the 15-minute time frame. What did I say? This was the last push that the price did, break of structure right there, and the price did well to tap to the demand zone that brought that break of structure, this black candle, right? It tapped there. So that was our demand zone. Demand zone. So when it tapped this demand zone, it created this first buying. I was not saying it. So it came to for the second time up to this inversion value gap, right? This inversion value gap right there. Alright, you see it. And then I saw this how this two buying pressure came in. And that started to this market structure shift. Alright, that brought this market structure shift. So I was placing my buy. I deleted this buy late yesterday night, like 10 p.m. I placed my buys from this order block. You see this large order block? This is where I was buying from. This is where my buy was. My stop loss was just below this fast swing low, right? I was very skeptical with my stop loss was below that fast swing low. This one is the one that I'm talking about, and I was targeting this supply zone right there. My first target was this. If price would have hit this, then I would have decided to close my trade or break even. Alright, but I saw this candle as it printed down, this massive black candle, and I was like, ah, yes, price is coming, but it didn't come. Alright, I saw how it reacted from this fair value gap and just went up to that point. So I closed my trade when price was somewhere down this point. So I'm just waking up, I'm seeing price going up to that point. So what do I want to see at the moment? At the moment, I want to see how price will sell from that supply zone. Alright, it has tapped our supply zone, so it's wise for it to sell. Alright, it's very wise for us to anticipate selling. But this is gold though. But regardless, I wanna see it selling before we reach this ultimate supply zone. I wanna see it sell at least up to this point. You see, up to this point, this was a break of structure. This was our first target. If that sales comes, this will be our first target, right? Because we have this as a break of structure, and if that doesn't work, I wanna see it trade massively to this point, right? And see it trade massively to that point. So at the moment, I wanna see price sell, and you can see how it created this market structure shift. If I had time, I would have shown you what brought this move from the weekly time frame. Very, very significant CRT, very, very massive, right? Very powerful concept from the weekly time frame. But now we saw how price created this market structure to shift to this upside, right? That was a market structure shift. So as that's up there, supply zone, price doesn't move in a straight line. That's the goodness of Forex trading. It doesn't move in a straight line. So you wanna see it do some retracement or some balance before it decides to do whatever it wants to do. Maybe you'll have that balance and continue up, or to bring that balance massively, that retracement massively, and continue to the downside. But this balance or this retracement is what we want to capitalize on. So from the 4-hour time frame, as it has tapped our supply zone, what we want to see is just a liquidity clearance, alright? Liquidity clearance and a market structure shift. This is what we want to see when I say liquidity clearance, and then we can take our trade from that point. Alright, so that's what I want to see gold do, just like EU and the GU. Since the DXY is buying, so we want to see them selling. And this is the idea behind buying currencies and selling the dollar. When we are buying EURUSD, GU, or XAUUSD, what we are saying is that we want to see Euro being strong and the dollar being weak. That's when we are buying. And when we are selling, what we are basically saying, when we are selling EURUSD, for example, what we are basically saying is that we want to see Euro weakening while the dollar strengthens. And we have done our analysis on DXY, and we have said we want to see DXY buying it as being strong. So it makes sense for us to see Euro being weak. So it's safe for us to sell Euro while we are buying the dollar. It will be unsafe for us when we see EURUSD buying, not EURUSD, but Euro buying and the dollar buying. Doesn't work like that. So we stay away from such kind of markets. But when we have EURUSD, Euro is selling while the dollar is buying, that's a safe market that we should engage on. So that's it for now. I didn't want this video to be long. Follow your plan, execute, and always know that you are just one trade away. Sign off.